And we're going to verse 26 to 27. It says, Ephesians 4, 26 to 27. It says, in your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. And do not give the devil a foothold. So that means that when we do let the sun go down in our anger, we're giving the devil a foothold. I have tried this very thing. I've done this very thing many times. I will go into my little closet to pray and ask God for peace. It is quite amazing. After I pray, my anger usually disappears. And I'm not an easy person. I never always used to always do this. I used to be a very quick-tempered person. So my response to my husband or being hurt was either withdrawing to my closet or just being quick-tempered, and that is not the answer. That's not a godly-like answer or Christ-like answer. Sometimes I get reminded afterwards, after I go in my prayer closet afterwards, and I get a nudge in my spirit that my anger has gone. This is when you give it to God. I used to communicate by yelling, and when I was hurt or angry. I tried using the silent treatment. I'm sure like many of you do, or yelling, but that did not work for me. And it does not most of the time work. My husband would also retaliate with yelling or staying quiet. The bottom line was that none of the issues that were bothering us was ever resolved or discussed. You both must directly address the issue with openness and honesty. Just talk to one another with respect. Please do not withhold your affections from one another after resolving a conflict. The Bible commands that we forgive. One did not lose to the other. In a marriage, you did not lose to the other one. Rather, both of you won. Forgiveness always opens the door to becoming more close. Such closeness then creates an atmosphere of love, and that will lead to genuine intimacy. I exhort you to be intimate because there is powerful healing unleashed in this form of communication. The act of intimacy breaks any power the enemy has over your anger. Your physical union in the natural exemplifies the spiritual union in your hearts and spirits. Such intimacy serves only to strengthen your marriage. It is mission critical to spend ample quality time together as a couple, as a husband and wife. There is barely enough time to spare for ourselves in today's busy world of ours. How much less than for our spouses or for our children? It is no wonder why marriages starts falling apart. I once read a quote from Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics, who said it is imperative to put God first, family second, and career third. This is so crucial. The world today seems to have it backwards. Rekindle your romance. Always remember where you started from, your courtship and your honeymoon period. Never forget the core reason why you chose this special person to be your lifetime partner out of all these millions of people that you could have chosen from. It is just as important to spend time with your spouse as it is with your children. Think about it. If your marriage fails, then your children will suffer. So make time for your spouse and have regular date night. If your finances are tight, then go for a walk in the park, or go for a walk in the mall. I know some couples that revolve everything around their children. Is the marriage union between you and your husband or you and your children? You know, what happens to the marriage after the children are grown and gone? This is why it is so important to set some standards. Standards between you and your husband. You have a list of activities, we all do, of interest, a list of activities or interests or things that interest us, each of us. Some might be mutual and others may not. Wives, try to engage in some of these, healthy activities of your husbands. And husbands, engage in some of the healthy activities of your wife. Husbands, in sharing this and being kind to your wives, you'll be amazed the transformation that you see in your wives. Women are very emotional creatures. And I think one of the secrets that men you do not know is that once you feed into this emotion and let a woman feel that they are on top of the world, they are special to you, then that you can get anything you want out of that woman. But you need to make that woman feel special because we are emotional creatures. You know, sharing activities as a couple brings about bonding and togetherness. This is a tried and true way to prevent temptations from creeping into your marriage. Please do not neglect your bodily appearance in health or health either. If your husband likes for you to look good for him, then do it. You actually make yourself feel better in the process. The same goes for you, for the other spouse. There is something to be said, you know, about how you feel or how one feels and perceives themselves after they have been dressed up in their comfort zone and receive compliments in return. It makes you feel good, and when you get noticed for the right reasons, especially if your husband notices you, or especially if your wife notices you. Your whole demeanor and attitude shifts in a positive way. You know, you will actually make the world a better place when you're feeling good about yourself. You make your marriage, a better institution. Everybody likes to be validated. Do not let a slight weight gain or superficial imperfections hinder you from what is tried and true and what is awaiting for you in your marriage. The goodness and the beauty of marriage. We're all going to have problems, and it's never going to be smooth sailing. But like I said, you put God first and you commit to one another. It takes two, not one. Commit to one another and you will make this thing work. Money causes a lot of marriage problems. It doesn't really matter who makes the most money in the marriage if you are both on one accord. Many women today have higher incomes than their men. Sometimes there is a positional shift in a marriage because of unequal income levels. It is a fact that men have egos and they like to feel that they're the head of the household, or they are the head of the household, even if the woman makes more money than they do, or all the money. Do not allow the power you have in making the most money distract you of your role in the marriage. Life has many surprises, my friend. Life has many surprises. One day, you may not be the one bringing in the income. And it is due to any number of circumstances that occurs in life. So I highly recommend that you honor what is said in the Bible. In Ephesians 5:22-23, and I'm going to read it because I feel it's very critical to our discussion today. Wives, it says, wives, submit to your husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way, husbands are to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated his own body, but feeds and cares for it, just as Christ does the church. For we are members of his body. For this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and become united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. This is the profound mystery, but I'm talking about Christ and the church. However, each one of you also must love his wife as he loves himself, and the wife must respect her husband. So do you see what the Bible is saying? I mean, husbands, if you love your wife as you love the Lord and yourself, you can overcome anything that occurs in marriages. If you truly love your wife the the way you need to love your wife.